Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where we discuss all things narcissism, and this video is going to be about why a narcissistic person plays nice. And when it comes to a narcissistic person playing nice, this is not because they care about you. This is not because they want to be there for you. This is not because they want to help you out. This is because they want something from you. Be it attention, be it adoration, be it something they can use against you later down the line, be it to sell you an illusion so that they can extract what they want from you, be it to gain an enabler or a supporter that doesn't believe other people when other people start to speak out about the narcissist because the narcissist has treated you so well. Be it so when you turn around and say no to them, they can then get offended that you've dared to say no to them because they were, after all, just trying to be nice for you, just trying to be helpful, and then you feel bad. They go all out to make you feel rude. So when it comes to a narcissistic person, they are nice to you because they want something from you. They want to sell you an illusion, a false belief of who they are or who they can be to get what they want from you. It's that intermittent reinforcement. So when they come along and they treat you so well, and one of the most confusing things about a narcissistic person is they don't treat you badly all of the time. This is really difficult when it comes to being raised by a narcissistic parent, because that narcissistic parent might fail to show up for you, and then they will have some sort of valid reason. It's basically an excuse because they couldn't be bothered, but it comes across as a valid reason as to why they couldn't be there for you. Or they will show up late for you, but they will blame somebody else. So they're triangulating you. So if they've got a new partner, they will blame it on the new partner as to why they showed up late. For the child, they'll say to the child that it was the new partner's fault. So it's creating that divide and that animosity between the child and the new partner. The narcissist is dividing and conquering. So instead of taking responsibility for them being late because they were too busy laid on the bed watching TV and couldn't be bothered to shift their backside out of the door, they blame somebody else. So to the young child, it seems like it's somebody else's fault. And then they do eventually turn up and pick that child up, and then they take the child out, and then they spoil the child and they buy the child things. And then they just go and drop the child off again. And then they ignore the child for a bit. So the child is pining for that love and affection and support from their parent. And the parent is conditioning the child to live life on the narcissistic parent's terms. They don't teach them right from wrong as such. They train them to behave in a manner that serves that narcissistic parent. So when the child praises the parent and talks well of the parent and gives the parent the attention that the parent believes they're entitled to, or when the child can be used as a pawn to gain a new source of supply, when they can play the great mummy or daddy in public in front of other people to gain that admiration, they are playing nice with their child to gain the admiration from outside sources of supply, not because they care about the child. Yet when they come along and swoop the child off their feet and take the child out and treat the child well, it's confusing for the child. And when the child steps out of line and might even just say something positive about the other parent, or something that criticizes the narcissistic person's parenting, the narcissist will then drop that child and just not be interested. and refuse to communicate. So the child's left questioning what they did wrong and trying harder to make it up to the narcissistic parent to gain the attention that they're craving from their parent, because it's their parent. And they can see that other parents are there for their children, yet their parents not, yet they blame themselves because of how the narcissistic parent has conditioned them to believe that everything is their fault and that the narcissistic parent is perfect. They will go all out to spoil stepchildren and to treat stepchildren or half siblings really well, or even full siblings really well, to create that jealousy and that resentment within their own children, so that the narcissist can feed off all the attention. When it comes to narcissistic people, they will come along and offer to do something for you, and then when you realise they're only doing this because they want that gratitude, they want that praise, they want to use it against you later down the line, so you say no to them, they can then be offended. They can then turn around and say, what's your problem? So that you then end up having to defend yourself to them, in which case you need to not. You just need to say no. And when they say, what's your problem? You can just turn around and say, I've got it sorted. I don't need your help. They will become offended. They will double down. You kind of have to be cruel to be kind, to shake off a narcissist, because the more they come along and play nice with you and you think, oh, or maybe they get it. Maybe they are being genuine this time. Maybe I can talk to them. Maybe I can let them help me out. Maybe I can help them out. It'll be okay. They then believe they're back in there with you. And then they want more and more and more from you. And the more you give them, the more they expect from you. And the more you give them, it's never enough for them. They're exploitative people that believe they're entitled to more. So you kind of have to say no and mean your no and step away from them, which is very difficult because a lot of narcissistic people will double down and they'll turn around and say, after all I've done for you, you're treating me like this. You're so disrespectful. You have no respect for me. You're the one that doesn't care about me. When you've just literally had enough of their games, but they don't see themselves as the problem. So to them, you are the one with the problem. And with the majority of narcissistic people, when you've had enough of their games and their manipulation to exploit you to get you back in doesn't work or fails to work, and you've cut off your supply to them, they will walk from you highly offended, and they will blame you to anyone who will listen. They will smear your name and ruin your reputation because they don't take responsibility for their behaviour. Nothing is ever their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Yet they will sit waiting for you to go and apologise to them. And the more you don't do this, the more they're going to blame you. The more they're going to look for other sources of supply to give them the attention that they believe they're entitled to, because they don't see themselves as the problem. They might come back a year or two down the line to try and gain something from you, but if you stand your ground and give them no supply, they'll still accuse you of being the ungrateful one and the disrespectful one and the awkward one and the stubborn one. However, when they can't get what they want from you, they will leave you alone and unfortunately move on to somebody new. Now, with some narcissistic people, they do and will become stalkerish, which is when you do need to get the police involved, and restraining orders, non-molestation orders don't always work with these kinds of people because they feel like they're entitled to have you. Yet the more you gather your evidence, the more you can show authorities exactly the kind of person you're dealing with. The less they get from you, the further they will walk away from you. You do have to keep yourself safe when dealing with or when around those who lack empathy. So when it comes to a narcissistic person playing nice, they play nice because they want something from you. They can go all out to treat a new source of supply really, really, really well and claim that their old source of supply doesn't respect them, is bitter, is resentful, is jealous. And as they're treating the new source of supply really well, the new source of supply can't imagine that the narcissistic person would be so cruel to somebody. Yet they can imagine why somebody would want somebody back who is treating them so well because of how well they're treating them. So this helps the narcissist gain that enabler. They impress strangers because strangers are a blank canvas that haven't seen through the narcissist's lies. So they can put on that charismatic charm and that admiration face and do nice things for strangers and crack a couple of jokes with strangers so that strangers believe the narcissistic person to be a really nice, down-to-earth kind of person. They can do favours for the strangers, so the strangers do appreciate them and do thank them and do show them gratitude. And then they come back to you and say, oh, isn't it nice to be appreciated? They're literally exploiting somebody. They're doing a favour to a stranger to exploit that stranger. And that stranger has thanked them and they come back to you and say, oh, isn't it nice to be appreciated? But because you see through their games, you're no longer playing them anymore. And at some point, the stranger does cotton on to what the narcissistic person is doing. And it seems to be, the more you kind of begin to realise what a narcissist is doing, the more sort of boundaries you put in place to protect yourself rather than just walk away from them, the more a narcissistic person sees this as fun and game on and, oh, how can I get around this? How can I get around them? They get a kick out of getting around people and getting their needs met by people. And the main methods that a narcissistic person uses to get their needs met by others is, firstly, they earn somebody's trust by being nice, by being there, by doing things, so that when they're not there, you're left with that cognitive dissonance of kind of, well, are they, aren't they? Can't quite work it out because one minute they're really nice and then they're not. Yet they've always got a justification and explanation as to why they're not. If someone never takes responsibility for their behaviour, or if somebody makes you feel responsible for everything they do wrong, that's the exact kind of person you need to distance yourself from. It's very difficult when it's family or a childhood friend, childhood cousin that you grew up with, a partner that you have children with, a parent that raised you. It's very difficult because they can treat you well. However, they only treat you well when they want something from you. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support of the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.